The sex class men is simply male privilege and gender identity, and it needs to be abolished if women are ever to be free.
Women and men may introduce Lierre Keith.
So my dad gets upset because they're not really allowed to teach science anymore in public schools because of all these sort of right-wing, people who have taken control of school boards. People can get confused here. I understand there's a bunch of different categories that we're talking about. There's sex and then there's gender. So sex is a biological category, right? There's male and there's female. Those are simply facts in nature. What power makes of that is something different, and that's what gender is. Sex means that, men have testicles, women have ovaries. Fine, that's just biologically true. But gender, on the other hand, is the political creation. Because patriarchy has to separate who counts as human and who counts as an appropriate target for violation. And that's what gender is, that political demarcation. So gender, like race, it's disguised as evolution or biology or God, because they have to naturalize those political categories. But from the vantage point of human rights, these are unjust systems that have to be dismantled until the categories, race, class, gender, until they no longer make any sense, because they are the creation of power. But oppression is like a cage. It's a system of interrelated barriers and forces. It's how all those wires work together. If you don't see that it's a system, well, the bird wants to be in that cage. The bird must enjoy being in that cage. The bird is singing, she's eating, she may even be laying eggs. The bird is volunteering to be in that cage because it's the bird's nature to be in that cage. So this is basic radical perspective. There's a group on the top, a group on the bottom, and the group on the bottom has fewer resources, fewer rights, and of course is seen as somehow subhuman. Number two is objectification. So the members of that bottom group are treated as things, as property, as commodities. The only way out is organized political resistance. So the final key here is violence. And when that's committed by the group on top, it is, of course, natural, necessary, right? It's just the fabric of society, right? Patriarchy takes human beings who are biologically male and creates a class of people called men. Now, men are made by socialization to masculinity, and that's the process that turns a child into a boy and then into a man. Being a man requires a psychology based on entitlement, emotional numbness, and a dichotomy of self and other. Female socialization is a process of psychologically constraining and breaking girls, otherwise known as grooming, to create a class of compliant victims. Femininity is really just the traumatized psyche displaying acquiescence. Next. Without feminism, the realities of women's lives are unspeakable. Each woman cut adrift in a hostile, chaotic sea. The crimes men commit against women aren't done to women as random individuals. They're done because women belong to a subordinate class. And they're done to keep us a subordinate class. This is the exact moment that a radical is born. You've got a group of people named men, and they have power over a group of people named women. Noel Ignatieff, the author of How the Irish Became White, has argued for abolishing the white race, defined as white privilege and race identity. Likewise, the sex class men is simply male privilege and gender identity, and it needs to be abolished if women are ever to be free. We will never get justice for women until we dismantle the caste system called gender. Liberty and a living planet will only be won when masculinity, its religion, its economics, its psychology, and its sex is resisted and finally defeated. Thank you.